Hey, listen up. We got another episode of Wise Kracks, featuring the crack man himself, Bill Krackomberger, and our co-host, John Orlando, straight from Las Vegas. Wise Kracks is your ticket inside the world of sports betting, with tips, picks, special guests, and more. Only on WSN.com.
We are back with another episode of Wise Kracks. A lot to talk about today, and we're going to do it all with Mr. Bill Krackomberger, who's on the other side of the country. And where are you, Atlantic City?
Yes, garden spot of the world. It's actually a sewer here, but it is no one. You go down the expressway. Welcome to beautiful Atlantic City. I really don't know what they're looking at, but it really is. It's gotten so bad here. Gotten's a bad word to use. I'm sorry. I know it's not proper, but it's. John, it has become so different than what they were before COVID. Things were getting better here. They had the walk, the outlets. They tried to build the inlet up. They tried to build the boardwalk up nice. Things were getting now like the big giant shopping mall outside Caesars is basically shut. It was on the water. It was pretty cool actually. At one time there was an Apple store in there. They closed down.
The
Everything
one that
closed
like
down
that pier, the Pier Mall, that one.
Yeah, it was called. Yeah, it was Pier. I forget the name. Of it right now, but it was. Yeah,
I've been in that mall.
Pier Mall.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
It closed down.
Wow.
Basically, there's a couple of dead stores in there, but it's just not. These casinos just put no money back into their community at all.
It's weird, isn't it?
It's so bad.
They could make it so much better.
Wow. It's a one block off the strip. Let's call it the strip, Pacific Avenue, on Atlantic Avenue. Boy, it is so dangerous that the CVS just closed there. CVS
really?
Closed. They were sick and tired of people just robbing stuff and walking out. They closed. Out of business. So it's just a bad. But matter of fact, they put police cars there in the center of the road with the lights flashing that no one's in it. Just makes people think better. But of course, they realize that no one's in it.
I see so many videos on Instagram from all over the country, mainly big cities, Chicago, LA, of just people going in. They don't even hide it anymore to try to steal. They literally just go in with a shopping cart, start throwing stuff in the cart, and just push the cart right out the store.
And I know it's everywhere. The missus has to remind me all the time that it's not just Atlantic City, it's Chicago, it's Detroit, it's Philadelphia, real close by.
Yeah.
It's all over the country. It's Arizona.
Yeah.
It's Las Vegas. It's LA.
Yeah.
She reminds me all the time.
Yeah.
It's not just, but I'm seeing what I'm seeing, and I'm seeing a difference here. I kind of broke in on this boardwalk here, though. This is where I learned some advantage gambling and stuff. So it kind of upsets me to see what's happened here and just the non-commitment of anyone with any. It's all about. Listen, I can't tell you how many mayors have literally been outed of office, in jail, and the way it's just run now is just the same thing. I mean, the poor cops, they're up against it so much. How do you go into housing projects and domestic violence things when you hear cops being shot everywhere?
It's insane.
It's unbelievable. Someone sent me a video the other day. Because I know a cop in Phoenix, Arizona, and literally this guy was shooting at the cop car.
Right.
Shoots at the cop car. They finally chase him, get out of the cop car. Which bravery. The guy has a gun. He's shooting at you. They chase the guy into a 7-Eleven. Both cops are now suspended.
Come on.
They kicked him.
Oh, my God. Come on.
Sent me the video that they kicked him and punched him and kicked him. Oh, sorry about that. 5 minutes earlier, you were trying to take me off the earth. And now I throw you to the ground and kick you. It gets me actually upset.
Yeah,
it really does.
That's crazy.
That we're in a society today that the police officers have to watch how they handle shooters that are shooting at them and watch their rights and watch their.
The bad guys have more rights than the good guys.
Give me a break. Smash his face into the ground.
100%.
Give me a break.
I'm with you.
You have to disarm him. The guy wouldn't put his arms back. They said, "Put your arms back. Put your arms," and they were kicking him to put his arms back.
Right.
He wouldn't put his arms back. They didn't know what he had in the front of him. They didn't know if he had another gun. I can't.
It's crazy that you
ridiculous.
can judge life or death situations and then hold people accountable as if they're criminals, the cops, in what they do in a life or death situation. I mean, they're literally fighting for their life.
I grew up in a tough town. I grew up in a real tough town, Kingsburg, New Jersey. Very tough, blue collar, very blue collar, working class. We weren't even middle class. We tried to be. Let me just face it. I grew up poor, but we didn't know it. My mother had food on the table every night. It's fantastic. One thing we did, though, and I ran with a lot of bad guys. One thing we did, we respected the cops.
Yeah.
We weren't fighting cops. We weren't shooting cops. We weren't disrespecting people like today. You just forget about it. It's unbelievable. To be a cop in this country, my cousin's a state trooper in Jersey. I know so many cops, captain of police. I'm friends with detectives. Boy, I tell you, these people take their lives in their own hands on a daily basis. And it's just such a different respect level from when we grew up. Terrible.
Yeah. I hear you. Okay, let's talk a little NFL because the Cowboys are losing respect also, but we'll get to them in a second. Let's talk about the Bills and the Eagles both lost.
John, I say it every week on different shows that I do. During football season, I'm doing about 7 to 8 shows a week. I'm doing my own podcast that we do here. I'm doing a Fox show on the weekends. I talk about double-digit favorites, how dangerous it is to play them. And now people love them. Probably the favorite bet of everybody is to throw a double-digit favorite money line in because the Eagles can't lose to Washington. No way.
Right.
The Eagles can't lose to that game. People just throw it in. I'll lay the 5-1. Put it in the parlay. It's just going to enhance the payout.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Week in, week out, these sports books don't know what to do with their money off of sucker money coming in from the NFL.
Yeah.
That's all I can tell you. They're killing it.
Yeah. Does it make sense to just leave that game off your parlay? Or if you're going to do it, I know it might sound crazy, but maybe get it both ways if you're going to do it? Let me ask you this.
You're saying throw them in on the dog money line?
Yeah,
favorite money line for a peanut or something?
Do you think that I almost like the strategy of hedging before you need to hedge, meaning if there's a game that's going to go either way, let's say, your last game on a parlay is the night game, get it both ways so you don't have to worry about hedging because you're going to get better odds if you have it the other way in the parlay, right? If you have each way on the parlay.
I hate making a bet. I know that's going to lose. So I'm making a bet. One of them is going to lose.
True.
And I'm laying both ways. You basically have an opposite middle both ways. It's really not a good thing to do.
No,
but I understand what you're saying.
I understand
what you're saying. Well, you're betting both ways on you're adding a bad team with a good team. You're affecting the parlay price. It's already baked in that parlay.
Right.
But I mean, people love doing it though. They love throwing these big favorites in. And I'll tell you, double-digit underdogs this year are just amazing. They are amazing every year though. And this year is even more. The sports books are cleaning up. So when I see them week 8, they want to complain about losing on a Sunday. 1 week, it just aggravates me to no end. They've just killed people, ruined people. I'm betting parlays and money lines, and people are ruining themselves and really shouldn't blame the sports books for it. But they'll let you bet that, but they won't let me bet, certain things like correlations, first half Tennessee and over in the first half on a parlay. I'm not allowed to bet that because that's a correlation, but you're allowed to do it with NFL money lines and everything else. All
right, let's move on to the next one. Let's talk about, I'm wearing the beanie only because I support the hometown team, but the Raiders are absolutely atrocious this year. They're terrible.
They're terrible. They are who they should be too. They went in there, they fired the GM, brought a new guy, brought his own staff in. I mean, they're just horrible. They're, it serves them right though. I actually root against them every game because they went in there and they fired a good kid who was a buddy of ours on the show, Teddy Atlas. His son was a scouting coordinator, did an unbelievable job. Unbelievable. His picks throughout the year that he went after were just insane. I mean, really, really good standout players. He did a great job on the team. Guy worked 70, 80 hours a week. I mean, more during the season, even more sometimes. And they fired him, fired the whole staff. And and they're a much worse team without them. So good for them.
Is he anywhere else yet? Did he land on a different team?
No, he didn't. He didn't. They literally fired him like right before the season, so he didn't. But he will next year for sure.
Okay. Wow, that's
Sure.
terrible. Cowboys and the Packers. I'm just so, they blew a 14-point lead, the Cowboys. And then in overtime, I know we were talking during the pre-show. I still say they should have kicked that field goal, or at least tried to kick that field goal.
Yeah.
To get the points.
I didn't watch the game.
Yeah.
But I know that's the big talk about is that field goal. But I said this last weekend. I didn't bet the game, by the way, but this was really a must-win game for Green Bay. If they lose this game, you can forget about everything. I mean, I actually said if they lose this game, they are one of the worst teams in football. With the first of all, I don't think Rodgers was ever a dog of more than 3 points ever at home during his whole career.
Yeah.
So this was a big situation for them. But they lost 5 games in a row before. I don't think they're not going to fail the rest of the season. But this was a big game for them.
Yeah.
And we were talking about it. Well, let's talk about the other side. Let's talk about the Cowboys too a little bit.
Yeah.
The season wins are still at 11.5. So I pulled up their schedule. We talked about it before.
Yep.
So I'm going to say, let's say they lose this weekend versus Vikings.
Yep.
I'm thinking they're going to beat the Giants. Of course, the Colts they're going to kill.
Yep.
Of course, the Texans they're going to kill. These are home games too, by the way. Then they run into the Jacksonville Jaguars on the road. Won't be as easy as you think. They will be favored, but it won't be as easy as you think, probably. Then they play the Eagles, which at home in Dallas, which they're going to be underdog. They're going to have a tough time. They're Titans in Titan land. I don't know. I think the Titans are overblown too. Commanders, even though the Commanders just had the game they had, I just don't think. I think I'm on a bad bet. I'm on an under. I'm not going to hedge out anything. I'm on an under season wins on them.
Yeah.
I'm under 10.5.
Makes me sad.
I don't think they're going to reach that mark. I think they're going to reach that mark and win 11 games. But 11 games might be the number, though.
Yeah.
So we'll see. So 11.5 might be a shade too high. We'll see.
And you were saying before we started, I was saying Cowboys Jets. I like Cowboys Jets.
Yeah, no, I just said that, the Jets, let's look at them real quick. But the Jets really, they have a really soft second half schedule.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. I mean, they're 6-3, but the second half schedule is actually a little bit softer for them. Listen, I'm not saying they're going to go to I think they're going to reach the playoffs, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
me too.
They play the Patriots this weekend. That's a big game for both teams. Then they go home, play the Bears. Should beat them. They're in Minnesota. That's going to be a tough game for them. They go to Buffalo. Even though they beat Buffalo, Buffalo's going to be more prepared for them this time. Trust me. They go to Buffalo and play them. They play the Lions at home. They should win. They should beat the Jaguars at home. They go to Seattle. Listen, not the hardest game in the world. And then they go to Miami. I just think that they're going to be in the playoffs, and I think they're a nice little bet to make the playoffs. I'll take a peek at them, what it is to make the playoffs. There's teams to make the playoffs and not make the playoffs, and the Jets are here. Let's pick them. Jets to make the playoffs are -110, yes and no, either way.
Wow.
So,
but at the beginning of the year, that wasn't the case, though, right?
No.
Right.
Take like 5-1, yeah. How about Green Bay, even after winning last week? Green Bay to make the playoffs, you have to lay 4-1 on the no. That's still 4-1 no that they won't make the playoffs. Take 3-1. Yeah. Your Dallas Cowboys, they're going to make the playoffs. You have to lay 25-1. The no plus 12-1. They'd have to fall apart for the no.
Right.
But anyway, there's some interesting teams here to make the playoffs and not make the playoffs. So,
all right, let me throw some cool future bet possibilities at you. Caesars reported taking a $20,000 bet on Tom Brady at 100-1 to win the MVP, and they also took a $5,000 bet on Tyreek Hill, which I love this bet. $5,000 on Tyreek Hill to win the MVP at 100-1. Do you like these bets?
No.
No, not even Tyreek.
Tyreek sounds a little high, but no, I don't. These guys. First of all, it's hard for a wide receiver to win that award. And Brady, Brady's just terrible. Not terrible, but Brady's had a terrible year compared to his.
Yeah, I don't see
history.
Brady winning the MVP, but I kind of like the Tyreek Hill bet.
Compared to his history. I mean, listen, we know he's the GOAT, but he this year has proven to be. He's got a lot of.
All right, let me ask you this.
Too.
Do you like Tyreek Hill at 100-1, or do you like Mahomes at even money?
If
you had to pick,
like Mahomes, it's easy to say like Mahomes even money, but I'm not betting no one even money.
All right.
When there's injury involved in a key player like that and miss a game or two, no. I mean, you want to put a peanut on Tyreek Hill, it doesn't bother you at all. You want to put $10, $20, $50. I guess you could do that.
How about Tua at plus 350?
I would more because you're getting plus odds.
Right.
I would more look towards Tua and shop them odds. You can get better than 350.
And how about Josh Allen 6-1? That's pretty good.
No,
I feel like
I don't want him.
Why?
I don't want him. He's just.
But if the Bills get there
this year, yeah, I guess if they get there, this year is just a different year for these mega star quarterbacks.
Yeah, I agree. No one's really killing it.
Yeah.
It feels wide open.
Just think about it. Buffalo Bills, the star team, Buffalo Bills, favorite to win the Super Bowl at the beginning of the season, still favorite to win the Super Bowl. Even though they lost to the Jets, they played a couple games pretty bad here.
Right.
Doesn't matter. They're still favorite to win the Super Bowl. And yet Josh Allen is 6-1 and Tua is 3.5-1. Amazing, really. It really is. So
okay, let's talk about the UFC real quick. Let's start with the fight that was one fight of the night, which was not for a belt, but it was in the welterweight division, in the lightweight division, or welterweight. Yeah, lightweight, sorry. Dustin Poirier was minus 210. He fought Michael Chandler, who was plus 180. I said Chandler was going to win, and I was wrong. Dustin submitted him. It was a great fight, back and forth, went into the third round. Chandler had him rocked. I feel like he had it. He was so close in round one. He had Dustin up against the cage, beating on him, and then for some reason he went and took him down instead of just keeping the barrage of punches going, and he couldn't put Dustin away. And then again in round three, we had it 1-1. I think everyone, actually all the judges, that's a fact, had it 1-1 going into round three. Chandler had momentum because he just won round two and had Dustin controlled on the ground most of the time. And all he had to do was go for a takedown and just do what he did in round two. He got Dustin up in the air like he was carrying him to do the takedown. And instead of just doing like a simple single leg takedown, he literally was trying to like slam him down. And you're very slippery at that point in round three. And it kind of backfired on him. They ended up on the ground, but then Dustin ended up on top. And then Dustin got control and ended up choking Chandler out. It was a really exciting fight, but didn't go the way. It killed my parlay, which sucked because I was perfect the rest of the night. I had told you I had a friendly bet. I think Rob, our producer, who's out sick today, but I think Rob owes me $100 or something for dinner. I don't remember what the bet was, but he told me Carla Esparza was gonna beat Wei Li Zhang, and that did not happen, Crack. And that didn't take a genius.
There's an outside chance that Rob may be playing hooky from the show.
I think so. He didn't want to face me. Yeah. He didn't want to face me today. I get it. It's okay, Rob. We're going to Benihana. Yeah. And Alex Pineda did what I said he was going to do, which was knock out the champ, Israel Adesanya. Super exciting fight. Came down to the last round, and he landed that signature left hook, among other things. And some people were saying it was an early stoppage, but Izzy was done. Really exciting fight. So it was a really great card. I wish I could get you to watch these fights because these were really good at Madison Square Garden.
Especially that I'm going to be with these guys tomorrow night. Jesus.
Wow.
I don't know what it looks like.
And Bill, this was the second record-breaking, actually the highest gate at Madison Square Garden in their history, and number two is also UFC. Madison Square Garden. So they have the two biggest gates in Madison Square Garden history. That's pretty big.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
It really is.
When you think that's the Rolling Stones and
yeah, New York was like one of the last states to approve this, so that's
right.
Amazing. They break these records there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing stuff. And I know it's a giant sport. I'm not that I'm not a UFC fan, but I'm an old school boxing guy.
Yeah.
I'm an old school
boxing
guy. I like boxing, but you have to adapt. Like Teddy Atlas, he was calling the fights for ESPN.
Yeah,
I mean,
and he's great
on there. Yeah, I heard he was great on there. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Okay, one of my favorite former Dodgers is in a little bit of hot water. I wanted to see what your thoughts are on Yasiel Puig. Just actually pled guilty to lying to the FBI about making a large volume of bets through a third party. Did you see that story?
Oh yeah. No, of course, it was a big story. I thought of you immediately because you used to live in the same building as
Yes.
me. So I thought
Yes.
Yasiel. I wanted to know if you were the one that started to corrupt him or not.
No, I didn't. I'll tell you what. There was a I guess let's call it what it is. There was an illegal sports betting ring going on in that apartment building, and poker twice a week, and on the penthouse floor, which was just one floor above me, and I partaked in the poker aspect many a time, and they had tons of screens set up in there. It was like a legit 3,000 square foot penthouse sports book. It was really cool.
Puig
never saw Puig there, and I spent a lot of time in there, and I lived in the same building as Puig for almost 2 years, and never saw him in there. So I
didn't even know what happened to him. He kind of fell off the map. He had a giant name in LA, and I thought he was like, the next greatest thing. Next thing you didn't hear of him.
They said he kind of had an attitude problem, whatever. I think he's just misunderstood. I feel like he's kind of he's kind of like maybe the Randy Moss of baseball, just maybe a little misunderstood because of his swagger, whatever. Real nice guy. Talked to him in the elevator. I ran into him at Ralph's supermarket across the street from the building, and he was signing autographs. And real nice guy. Real nice guy. I can't say a bad thing about Yasiel Puig, and I hope he gets through this.
Yeah. I hope he straightens out his life. That's just something that happens, and you can see it happening with young guys. You read about it all the time. You hear about it.
Yeah.
And, gambling is so fashionable now. It's right in the stadiums where the guys are playing, and everyone's talking about gambling, what the odds are. I've talked to a couple NFL players. They all know what the odds. They all know what they are every week. Favorite underdog, how many points, money line. They all know.
Yeah.
So it's in these young kids' faces, and sometimes they slip up. So best to them, hopefully.
Okay, Calvin Ridley still suspended even though the Jags traded for him, and his future is still unclear as the NFL has to reinstate him.
Yeah, there's another example. Yeah, a lot of these players, they're ready to play though. They're smart enough. They learned their lesson. I was reading the story on him. So, and they were training in the off, while they're suspended, and a lot of these guys are ready to come back. And I think when you take a young guy, he just goes through something. He didn't realize how bad it was sometimes, and it's not like they're involved in a federal crime, and sometimes they get caught up, like I said earlier, and hopefully they learn their lesson. And we see this all the time. I mean, how many you see this after their careers are over too? How many of these NBA players are broke today? Big giant names. You just see that there's just so many. There's people around them influencing them. And there's all the hanger-oners and their entourages that disappear. You see it in boxing all the time. You see it in the NBA. It's sad. It really is.
Within 2 years after they retire, a lot of them are broke. It's unfortunate. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about you for a minute, Crack. Specifically the Crack Wins app. Holiday season's coming up. Some people might want to start winning a little extra money for little Christmas gifts, if you will. And the Crack Man's very consistent. You're very consistent, Crack. Week in and week out.
College basketball now is like one of my good seasons here, and these first 2 months are, we're 1 weekend, but these first 2 months are always real good, profitable months. And not only that, we still got all the NFL props. We have a couple NFL plays we put out here and there, and I know people like them, even though I think the college basketball is something you have to get down on. And we're off to a decent start. We're not killing it, but the first week is always. The first week is I shouldn't say the first 2 months are always good. I put them together as first 2 months because we did had a good first week last year. First week though, sometimes is, I'll take break it even for the week and usually get by the way, all the Sharp Syndicate groups, they start betting after 2 games or 3 games underneath the teams, to get 2 or 3 games in. So let's see what happens here. Went 3-0 the other night, won 2 nights ago. I could see it flowing. I could see when I give out a game, the line moves a point or 2 points, 3 points. I could see the way the market goes. It goes my way, and I know what's going to happen long term. If you get the best of it, you're going to win. That's
yeah. Well said. Okay, and then after they go to crackwins.com, or Crackwins is available on Apple or Google Play, you should head on over to WSN.com and claim your signing bonus if you're a first-timer. There's a lot of new casinos on there, stuff you still haven't really heard of too much.
Yeah, I go on WSN because when I fly to a different place like Jersey or something, I always want to check. So I'm on their mobile site. So you go to WSN.com, talk about the bonuses right away. So you just click on the legal states, which, of course, New Jersey is one of them. I click on New Jersey, and you can see what bonuses are available here in this state. Again, Caesars still giving out to $12.50, up to $12.50 on Caesars. You get first bet. FanDuel $1,000 no sweat first bet. Deposit bonus of DraftKings $1,000. But there's other ones here that people don't realize too that are smaller books maybe. And people don't realize they're on here. Bet365, Tipico, Unibet, Bet Rivers, Hard Rock Casino, Borgata, Golden Nugget. These are all $100 to $500 bonuses here. These are just small ones. Pick up the bonus, play a little. If you like the site, you keep your money on there. But you have to go to WSN.com because they negotiated the best bonuses for you guys. You can get better bonuses here than you can get just Googling a website. Plus, you're going to find those sports books that John just said, like here, that you really, I don't see them in a lot of other spots. There's books on here that I only heard of because of this WSN site. SI Sportsbook, Maxim Bet, Bet America. These are places I didn't even know existed, but yet for WSN, they're really the ones that I found these sites on. And again, this is where those bonuses are, and you can claim those bonuses. Now, going back to the original, the front of the app, like I said, the great stories on here. Every week they have new articles. It just shocks me even. Every week on not only there's advice on NBA and expert picks on predictions and betting bonuses on here section. This is all of our podcasts too, by the way. You can find every one of our podcasts on here. But I like going to the industry news. It's something that I keep up on, and I can't keep up on it nowhere else. WSN, the articles on Maryland this week, on California, which is just ridiculous. It just seems like we can't win over here with California. Articles on Mattress Mac. I don't want you to read that. Enough's enough with him. There's different articles here from around the country on the industry in general, things that in general can happen, will happen. And there's also things on, like I said, not even the strategy. There's little nuggets of information you could pick up on different sections on the site on just maybe a beat reporter that's writing and adding his story to this site. So I noticed that for the first time last week too. So check it out, WSN.com for all your gambling needs.
Well said, the Crack Man. There's a note on here on our thing. Tell me about Eagles fans eating tuna out of a can.
Oh,
what is this?
Oh man! So the Eagles game here is it's a really passionate fan base, as I always say, the Eagles, and they're all here, of course, in Atlantic City rooting for the Eagles in the sports books. But I was in a sports book the other day that might as well have been a bus stop. It was bad. Really? It could be like a shelter, man.
In Atlantic City?
There was a guy just opening up cans of tuna, eating them out of the can, smelling up the whole room. Oh. It just smelled so bad. There was another guy, John, that pulls out a little toothbrush, brushing his teeth, walking around the sports book. I mean, this is well, we're in a time that you can't say nothing though, because you'll get your sports book in trouble, and your brand and your casino maybe even in trouble if they start trouble. But they're doing stuff that's kind of unethical. It's kind of, guys eating tuna out of a can, just smelling up the whole room. I can't watch the game. I had to move away. Really? Disgusting. It was disgusting.
What you're describing sounds worse than like off-track betting back in the day. Like, remember what a dumb off-track betting was?
It was basically an OTB. Yeah. That was in the 70s and 80s here in Atlantic City. Some of the books here are scary, man. They are. It's the reason why you should bet from your apps. It's the reason why 85% of the people that are betting It's not the reason, but it's one of the reasons. 85% of the people are betting from their apps. I really wouldn't spend it in a sports book off the boardwalk, which is, it's dangerous out there, man.
Do you spend much time at Ocean Casino still or no?
That actually is a nice book. It's a new book, by the way.
Yeah,
it's a new book
I liked it there.
took over there. Yeah, it's all redone, brand new book, brand new company, and they're taking some bets. But then again, I've made my bets. I've made some bets in person here the last couple of days and I'm not usually an in-person guy. I bet on the app. They don't have an app going Ocean yet. They're working on it. They don't have an app yet. The counter there, I just expect, because I know so much more than the average sports bettor and even the people behind the counter sometimes. And so I'm used to rotation numbers. They don't do that here. I'm used to the Don Best rotation number. So when you walk up to a counter, you got to give a game, and the teller has to find it. So he has to scroll through all these games to try to find your game. College basketball is 100 games. I mean, you can't find it. It's really tough.
Yeah.
So there also is a search function, though. They can, if you're betting Boston College, they can spell Boston College, and it'll come out, or Duke, D-U-K-E. It'll go right to it. But I found a teller at Ocean that I love. He's great, crafty veteran, just knows so much stuff, so helpful, so friendly. And then he was off, and I found a guy that I wouldn't let mop the floors in my casino. Never mind punch horse or tickets. He was so nasty, so rude. I almost jumped all over him. Well, then I seen the guy 10 minutes later go up to the counter, an inexperienced bettor, and he went nuts on him. And I lost it on him.
Really?
I said, listen, you shouldn't have this job. You shouldn't even have a job on the planet the way you're talking. If you don't like your job, go do something else. But supervisor actually talked to me, said, it's so hard to get help. You can't get help. When they're paying people $15 an hour over at, In-N-Out Burger or whatever, it's hard to get someone to work for $12 or $13 an hour. And you get some tips, you get some cash tips, but it's hard to do that. It's crazy
because in the casino, that's a lot of responsibility. You're dealing with, you could be dealing with $10,000, $25,000, $50,000 in cash. Yeah. And over the course of a day, hundreds of thousands of dollars are coming through your hands.
John, the funny thing is we had his boss on, the owner of the sports book, Vic Salerno. We had him on this show. He owns the book. Now, it's a rat move for me to text Vic on an individual thing. So you try to go up the chain of command. You go up to the manager, the supervisor, maybe the guy that's in charge of the whole book. You don't want to go to a boss. You don't want to go to the owner of a casino, owner of a. But I'll tell you what, I think it's beyond control. I don't think you could really say too much to people today. They'll sue you for talking mean to them at their job.
Yeah.
We're in scary times, man. We're in scary times.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this was another fun show, Bill. Where are you next week? Still on the East?
No, I'm back. I'm coming back Saturday.
All right. Very good.
Wait, is there anything else? We have nothing else here. I got notes.
No.
Hold on.
What else you got?
Let me see my own personal notes.
Oh. Personal notes from the Crack Man. What do you got?
Oh, I got some just some life lessons.
Oh. So let's hear it.
So the wife walks into Best Buy. She signs up for that Geek Squad thing. I was mad. Because I know they well, what can they do? That's fine. I said, listen, go ahead. You want to spend $200? Go ahead. I don't care. Well, you have to watch because like Geek Squad at Best Buy, someone has infiltrated their system.
Oh.
Because it happened to a friend of mine too. So like someone sells their mailing list to a Fugazi company and they say, thank you for ordering this. And here's the 800 number. It'll be billed to your PayPal. So you call the number, and if you're an old person or something, you're being scammed because someone sold the list. I noticed that twice now in a week from those characters. I talked to my buddy Jerry Eisenberg yesterday, and we got to get him on. He's 92. I got to get Jerry on. Jerry told me something yesterday. He's a legend. This guy gave the eulogy at Muhammad Ali's funeral.
I met him with you, right?
I think so. Best friends with Yogi Berra. Yogi Berra was his best friend, one of his best friends. He told some stories about him yesterday. He told me some stories about Billy Martin yesterday, him and Billy Martin being
really
out. He told me stories about Mickey Mantle in the locker room. Mickey Mantle, and Mickey wasn't the greatest person to the media. And, he wasn't a good father, nothing. He admitted that at the end of his life, actually.
Okay.
But he said the most important classroom I ever sat in, though, in my 92 years, was my parents from 1930 when I was born. I was born during the Depression. They were raising two kids. I'm most grateful for my dad and mom going through the depression. I remember how tough it was back then. My dad and mom both working tough jobs. We got to have. We're not going to get no one else that's born 1930 on the show. And we got to get this guy who was the Yankee locker room guy. He traveled with the team. I mean, Joe DiMaggio.
Yeah,
he knows everybody.
Really cool. That's really cool.
He just knows. So it's something I talked to him yesterday. I already told you, Charles, I wouldn't give a mop job. I wrote that down here. Okay. Casino management. Last thing. You know what bothers me? Something about casinos, John. These casino managers sometimes, not the manager, the above them, even the director or something. This happened to me at Treasure Island. Treasure Island is an individual-owned casino by Phil Ruffin. Mr. Ruffin, good guy.
Good guy.
Yeah. So Phil owned the casino, and he had some antique that was working for him. Phil's very loyal, very loyal. He had the same guys working for him from the Bahamas. He had this guy working for him, and this guy was just so afraid to make any decisions. He just wanted to steal a six-figure paycheck and go home. Like if someone was winning, he would yell at the marketing guys, this guy's winning. He's actually trying to win. What's this guy think he's doing? Like if someone won, it was a big deal. Like, to bring a guy like Phil Ivey in, he was petrified. Oh my God, we can't bring Phil. This is even before the cheating scandal. This is just because he plays high. And there's, I understand if you have no one to offset that. So you have someone coming with $1 million, it's hard to offset that. But
right.
Trust me, I honestly think Mr. Ruffin would have wanted those guys in there, but this guy wouldn't let them in there. And what I'm trying to say is by this, there's so many people stealing a paycheck in casinos. They're not doing what they're paid to do. They're not paying to do what the shareholders and the stockholders and the owners of the casino want them to do. Just simply book business. They look at everyone like a sucker, everyone like an idiot, and just come in, you lose your money. Thank you. Yeah, you want a little buffet comp? You're fine. Okay, great. Yeah, but if you win something, you're the enemy. You must be doing something wrong. Gotta be doing something wrong. Now, this isn't everyone. This isn't every place. You go into certain places, it's not like that, some of the casinos. But I'm just saying, really, the hands-on approach for guys that are top-level guys is to find out what's going on in their company with their mid-management or upper management that's running the place. And maybe that's the reason why sometimes you don't reach your quarterlies or your quotas or whatever. I just noticed it there, and I just said, I'm going to talk about that for a second.
Yeah,
that's it. I'm done.
Customer service has definitely changed in these casinos.
Oh, yeah.
Wynn and Encore is a good example. It's a different building than when Mr. Wynn was on the job.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Very good point. I didn't know you even knew that.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
It's a totally different building than it was.
You know so many people, and I've asked you this before off the show, but you'd never want to own a casino?
Own a casino?
No.
I mean, I think like a guy like Derek Stevens, that would be the funnest job in the world.
Oh, you would like it?
I guess I would. I mean, sure. Who wouldn't like that? You're getting a guaranteed salary, guaranteed money. You're the man. And you know what? A hands-on approach is not bad. A hands-on like Derek has it. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's how you would be. You would be mixing with the people and.
John, like a restaurant, you don't even have to have good food.
Right.
But if you mix with the people, if you go out there and sit at the tables, how's everything tonight? I'm the owner. Anything wrong, you let me know, let my staff know. Just a little thing. Your food suddenly tastes better.
I agree.
Your food suddenly is better.
Yeah, I agree.
So there you go. Yeah.
Good stuff. School. All right, so that's a verbally binding agreement, Bill. You're going to work on us owning a casino. You like how I clumped me into that? All right.
That's right.
All right, well, we'll see. I'll see you next week.
See you guys.
We will see you guys next week on Wise Kracks.
See you next week.